So guys, we are actually in Kibiko Ngong area in Kajiado County, just somewhere in Kenya, and we're about to explore a multi-million farming venture that has actually helped hundreds of youth make a fortune. And today we're about to have this crazy conversation. I mean, guys, look at all these greenhouses, over hundreds of them, and we're about to have a conversation with one Gathoni Mwaniki, who's going to tell us her story on how she got to be able to work with Young Africa Works and make a fortune out of all this. Let's go. This is Greenhouse 61, and this is where we're going to have a nice conversation with Gathoni. Hi Gathoni.
Hi.
How are you?
Welcome.
Nice to finally meet you.
Thank you.
This looks lovely. So how do we go from here?
So you have to dip your feet in this water bath.
Okay.
Foot bath. So
yes.
just dip like that, and then like that to kill all the dangerous microorganisms that you may have carried from wherever you came from.
Okay. Wow. So you dip your feet there to kill the microorganisms.
Yes.
Because you're getting it to a space that you don't need the microorganisms, right?
Yes.
So what are we farming here?
We are doing tomatoes. This is called Anna F1 variety. For now, it's around 6 months since with the time that we planted it. Yes. Tell
us a brief story about yourself, introduce yourself, and how you also got to be part of this project.
Thank you very much. So this is my third year in this project. I've been doing this since 2021. No, 2020 actually. That was the first time that I did the first season. And it's a project that was created by two foundations. So the objective was to create dignified work for the Kenyan youth, and they decided to do that by one of them was agribusiness. So for me now, that's when I joined. I did an interview, I did a training for 3 months, and then we formed a company with my partner, and then now we came to Ngong and we got our greenhouse. Yes.
Wow. So what other things other than tomatoes are you allowed to farm here?
For now, we are doing tomatoes and and cucumber. Yeah. So before we used to do capsicum, but we've been doing some crop rotation. Actually, we also still don't have a lot of tomatoes. So for now, we only have cucumbers a lot and very tiny very small tomatoes, maybe 1 month, 2 months tomatoes.
Okay, what's the size of this greenhouse?
This is 8 by 24 meters squared.
8 by 24. And how many, tomatoes does it have?
Normally it has 660 tomatoes.
660 tomatoes?
Yes.
That's crazy. And they're 6 months old?
Yeah, for these ones we've been harvesting them for about 4 months now.
So you harvest after every 4 months?
No, when you plant a tomatoes, so it comes from the nursery maybe like this size, right? And then when you plant it, then you have to wait for 3 months. And then on the third month, or depending on the weather, it can be either the 3 months or 4 months. So so after now, then you do the first harvest between 3 months and 4 months, and then now after that now we do harvest every week. So for us, we do a harvest on Monday and on Thursday, and at the prime of our harvest, we usually harvest maybe 250 kgs per harvest.
In one greenhouse?
Yes.
250 kilograms?
Yes. And that's just Monday. Wow. And that is Monday. Then on Thursday, also 250. So,
are they always ripe by Monday?
Yeah. For now, they look green because we harvested them yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday was Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes. So they were harvested yesterday. So by Monday, most of these that you're seeing, they look a bit like they're almost red. Yeah. They'll be completely red by Monday.
Tell us how all this comes about, like we can see some water, we can see some soil. I don't know. Just tell us in layman's language.
All right. So in layman's language. So you remember that in class 6 primary school, we were told that a plant only needs 3 things to germinate, right? Yes. So it needs air, it needs water, and it needs warmth. Yes. Thank you. And it needs warmth. So now that's the whole concept of hydroponics. Yeah. So for us here, we've taken away soil. You see, there's no mention of soil in that. So now we've taken away the soil, and now for us, we use the coco peat and we use pumice. So those are 2 things that we've used because
what is coco?
Coco peat.
Coco peat. Yeah, like the coconut stuff.
Yeah, when you take I don't know how really they make it, but it comes from coconut. So maybe I can't tell you how they make it, but it comes from coconut. Yes.
And the other one you said?
The other one is pumice. It comes from when a volcano erupts. They usually some some rocks that come from the eruption or something like that. So that's the pumice now that we usually use. So you take it, you disinfect it, and also you take the cocoa pit, you clean it, because coconut grows in Indian Ocean, right? So it usually has a lot of sodium chloride and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and sodium chloride is not really good for the it's chumvi, it's the salt, yeah. So it's not good for the tomatoes especially. So you have to wash it, and then you also have to wash the pumice, and then now you mix them together, and then you plant your crop.
Wow, this is quite interesting. But one thing I really love to know, how much maintenance does all this need?
So this is one greenhouse, so it's not really a lot of maintenance. For example, right now you're seeing I'm taking out some stuff. So these ones are called suckers. So it's one of the biggest maintenance tasks. But I think for this one greenhouse, if you give yourself 3 hours per day, it's very possible for you to manage this greenhouse. Yes.
Do you do this all yourself, or do you employ people to do it for you?
No, for me, I do this all by myself. I've been doing this for 3 years now. Yes.
So you can comfortably take care of it without having to employ anyone?
Yes, I can. The only reason I would employ someone is if I have maybe 2 greenhouses or 3 that requires more, now that's more work. But for now, one greenhouse, I can take care of it very comfortable by myself.
Okay. Now, for someone looking at venturing into this business, they're looking at this and they're like, these people are probably mincing or printing dollars, in all this. How much do I need as a startup capital?
Depending on the rates, on the market rates or the different companies that make the greenhouses, you can expect to spend between 300 and 400,000 for the greenhouse.
For the greenhouse alone?
Yeah, for the greenhouse and these structures, the metallic structures.
They make all this for you?
Yes, they come inside the greenhouse, okay? And then now, because you're doing the hydroponic system, then these ones will also be an additional cost. So this one can go up to maybe 100K. So the cocoa pit, the pumice, and the maple trough, as well as the...
They come with the whole hydroponic system?
For most of the hydroponic system, now, so now no. Okay. When we were starting out, there are not very many people who are doing hydroponics. But for now, if you go to just any company, or even if you come here for us, we can just install everything for you. The pumice, the cocoa pit. We can even tell you the ratio. How much do you need for this entire greenhouse? How many maple troughs do you need? Yes.
Wow, interesting. Standing here, I can actually see a water pump, and that one tells me that despite the fact that the system is called hydroponic, there's a water pump here, and it tells us that it needs water. How much water is needed per se in a week, in a month, in a year?
So for this crop size, we usually need about 1,000 liters per day.
1,000 liters?
Yes.
Okay.
But the old, now in case it's hot, right now it's not very hot, but if it's hot it can go up to 1,500 liters, but it can also go as low as maybe 500 liters, 200 liters, depending on the stage of the crop. Yes.
Okay. How does the weather affect the produce?
When it's very hot, the crop will sweat a lot. So then there's a lot of evaporation, and when there's a lot of evaporation, then that means the water just moves very fast from the soil to the to the leaves, and then it gets lost into the atmosphere. So then you need to supply a lot of water to replace that water that is getting lost. Otherwise your plant will start drooping. Yeah.
What are some of the things that you wish you knew about this business when you started, that you learned all the way through the business, that you say, if I knew this before, maybe I'd be far away?
For one, I thought that because I have a farm, now I should spend all my time at the farm. But this is smart farming. I don't really need to spend all my time at the farm. So I wish I knew that I could spend 3 hours in the beginning, and then I would have probably found a way to occupy most of my other time. So for now, we can do the automation. If you can see, this one is it's an automatic. It's a timer. Yeah. So basically, you can say at 8 a.m. this thing should come on and then pump a certain amount of water. But now for me, when we didn't have really the automatic system, unakuja hapa 8 a.m. then you switch it on for 10 a.m., 12 a.m. So you found that you had to stay here the whole day. Yeah. But that's just one of the things that I knew.
Okay. I'm actually holding one tomato which is almost ripe, right? Do you harvest this size?
Yes, we also harvest this size.
Yeah.
This one is called grade 3 now. The price that we get for it is not very good because we get 20 bob per kg.
What about the big ones?
The big ones usually get 2 grades, so grade 1 and grade 2. So we can get 45 bob per kg for each.
For grade 1 and 2.
Yeah. And also you see when you have the big ones, so maybe you have like 3 or 4 fruits
Yes.
for 1 kg.
Oh yeah.
So you see.
You don't need many tomatoes to get a kg.
Yes.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Now, but now for this one you might even need 15. So
A friend of mine told me that tomato farming is a lucrative business. You can drive the biggest cars, you can live in the best mansions, you can have a lot of money.
Yes.
How true is that?
very true, 100% true. But there's a but, because you have to have the right size of the operation of the land that you're doing. And then you also have to really have a really good market, because when I say we sell at 45 shillings, that's a kg, that's a price that many Kenyans, they don't get that kind of price. Because for us now we have a contract, so it's a whole package, it's a whole project, it's a very well supported project, so we can get 45 shillings per kg. But for most people that is not really a guarantee, so that's one of the biggest challenge. And I'm sure you've also seen it sometime when once in a while you get like these huge, people pack a lot of tomatoes.
Yes, that's true.
Yes. So if something like that happens to you, then definitely you're not going to make any profit. So of course have a market, and of course have the right size of land. This one greenhouse is very good, but it needs to be bigger for me to sustain myself completely 100% from it. Okay. And also need to do it for a long time. You can't come here and 1 year and then you say like, hey,
I've given up.
yeah, I've given up. No.
Yes.
Probably the first 2 years will be the 2 years of learning.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably from the third year, now that's when you can start, getting money from it, yes.
Am I allowed to bite this tomato? I mean, it's just fresh from the farm.
I'll get you tomatoes that you can bite.
This is very interesting, and I mean, guys, we have over 600 of this, and they're getting over 250 kilograms every week.
Over 500 actually.
Over 500,
Yes.
because 250 kgs is per harvest.
Yes.
This is crazy. Now, what are some of the challenges that probably you guys go through in this kind of farming?
So for farming, the biggest kind of challenge is diseases and pests. And that's why for one thing that we took away the soil, and now for us we use the cocoa peat and the pumice, because one of the things that this Ngong soil has, it's called a fungi called bacterial wilt. It's a very deadly disease. Once it gets into your crop, it's like HIV. Once it gets into your crop, then it doesn't get out. So then we also have another challenge with pests. So like tuta absoluta, we have white flies, we have spider mites, red spider mites. So those are actually for us in my first season I did experience 100% loss because of tuta and white flies. Like they just came in, there was no controlling them. So that is another challenge. The other challenge, especially with greenhouse farming, is that people, they don't trust greenhouse produce for some reason. I think they believe that they are very they are contaminated, they are grown with a lot of chemicals. So that's one of the biggest challenge. So you find our marketers, they have to do a really hard work to penetrate some sorts of market, you see. But for us, for the greenhouse tomatoes, actually, I think we actually use less pesticides, because now when you see you have the net, then the only pests that you need to deal with are the pests inside the greenhouse, you see. So the pests outside the greenhouse, we don't deal with them. So that's one of the advantages of the greenhouse. Yes, and also there's another challenge also. The hydroponic system can be costly right now. You see, the setup is, you have to cough or to use at least 100k
Yes.
just to set the hydroponic system only, which you wouldn't have to do in a soil system.
Yes.
Okay, and also the nutrients that we use, they also tend to be costly. Maybe because not many people do hydroponics farming, so the little fertilizers that come in, they can be very costly. You might find that the hydroponic fertilizers can be maybe at a 70% more than the ones that you would use on soil. So eventually, the hydroponic stuff, the hydroponic produce, it becomes more expensive, and it can't compete in the market. So for now, when you sell it at 45 shillings, I have to sell it at 45 shillings to make a profit. You see? But now you see, maybe some people, they are farming in Narok, they are farming in Loitoktok, and they can afford to sell at 20 bob.
Wow.
And they're still
make profit.
and make profit. But for me, if I sell at 20 bob, I can't even cover my costs. Yes.
One big question that Kenyans really ask is all this organic?
No, for us this is not organic. Yes. Although we started out wanting it to be organic, yes, but along the way we found that it was not working. Yes. So for now we are not really doing organic, although we are trying to start something along those lines with some of the greenhouses that we've set up recently. Yes. Yeah.
So guys, before we actually go to the place where I get to have a taste of these tomatoes, I want to ask Gathoni one big question. What is the most money you've actually made from this in a year?
So for me, the most money I have made from these is around 200,000. Sadly, because the target, and I know some people on this farm who have made 400,000. Yes.
Wow. So what do you think you would have done better?
I think those were the first years of learning. As you've heard, I've been here for 3 years. Yes. So for the 2 years, that was learning. Then this third year is not yet complete, as you can see. But now for these people that came later, the ones that I'm telling you, they got 400, they came on our third year. Yes. Now when I was planting my third crop, that's when they were planting their first crop. No. When I was planting my second crop, that's when they were planting their first crop. Actually, I had already planted my second crop. They planted their first crop. So I think they had the benefit of all the lessons that we had taken, all the learnings that we had taken, and they were able to use them to make as much money. But I'm hoping that I can also get to that much. So normally the target is around 6.6 tons. Yes, so that's what I'm targeting.
In a year?
Yes, in a period of 9 months, not 1 year.
9 months.
Yeah, 1 year you should get 9 tons.
9 tons.
Yeah, and I know some people have gotten 9 tons.
That's crazy. If you were to go back in time, would you still do farming?
I would, of course, do farming. Actually, this project was recommended to me by my sister. And she was just reminding me that she's the one who recommended me. Because for me, I think I've always been a farmer. And when she saw that project, she was like, this one would suit my sister perfectly. So, yeah, I would definitely do farming again if I were to go back.
Okay, and what would you tell the Kenyan youth or the youth who are watching out there and they feel like, farming is for the old, farming does not have money, farming is outdated?
The modern farming is definitely not outdated. And if you feel that way, I think you've not... the modern farming is not outdated, especially right now. Right now we are doing irrigation system. We are not really depending on the rain. We are doing greenhouses. People are making a lot of money in farming. And actually the most people right now who are doing farming are the young people. So if you want to do farming and you're a young person, it's not late actually. But you have to do it the right way. You have to know that, you're doing this for the long term. You're doing this for 5-6 years. So yeah, just sit down, tighten your seat belt, and do this for the long term.
Okay. Now for the long term, are you looking at getting another greenhouse, having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10?
Yes, I would definitely want to do more greenhouses for now. But as I said, this is a project. So for now, we can only have one greenhouse. And the project is also coming to an end. So next year, the KCBF and the MCF, the people who are currently within the project, they are going to be exiting. So in the long run, maybe in 5-6 years also, outside there, I can also have more than, maybe 4, 5, 6 green. In fact, even
Even 20.
even 20.
Yes.
Because I have found that a greenhouse is a very, very useful tool. And I know many Kenyans, they think that greenhouses are not really useful in Kenya. And yes, in the short run, when you're starting out, it's not really recommended that you get a greenhouse because you have to invest 300k, 400k to just build the structure. But in the long run, I think we should all work towards getting a greenhouse because you're protected from the rain, you are protected from the pests, and consider the rain is very bad with tomatoes. You are protected from diseases. You are very well protected. You basically create an environment. As you can feel, the temperature is a bit warm.
Yeah.
So that's warm.
Even when it's cold, right?
Even when it's yeah, it's actually cold outside, but it's very warm inside here, and plants love warm.
Wow. Amazing. So guys, I think right now it's about time. Not time to buy the tomato, but time to check out the fertilizers used. So what are you guys using currently?
We have a bit. We have this. Are you going to hold it?
Yeah, I can hold it.
Okay. And then we also have this. I think he can show us this.
Yeah.
So this one are sulfates, and this one the micro elements, the iron. The iron is the one that makes it have this red color.
Okay.
And then we have the nitrates.
Okay.
So because it's a hydroponic system, so we don't use the kawaida nutrients, the CAN, the DAP. So we use these ones. And we have to use them at a certain ratio. Of course, that ratio also changes as the crop grows. So when it was young, definitely we were giving it less than this. When it was older, then we have to give it at this age.
Yeah.
You might be asking, why are these two things separate?
Yes.
Because it's also solid, right?
Yeah.
So these ones are separate because you remember chemistry, right? Some chemicals, they usually react with some. So whatever is in this one, the sulfates that are in these ones, they can easily react with the nitrates in that one. And they can also react with this one. So we usually get it in 3 separate packages as like that. And then
you had to learn about how to mix them in the good proportion.
Yes, we had to. Actually, for me right now, I can even make my own fertilizer. I know exactly how much iron is in this one, how much boron, how much all those kind of nutrients that are here. But also, this is not the end of all the nutrients that we ever give to our crops. We also do some foliar.
Okay.
Yes, so once in a while, maybe you come and you observe your crop, it has certain deficiency. Then you can also even mix some iron. Just iron, you mix it into a knapsack, and then you can just spray.
You spray it to a specific, tomato plant, or to all of them?
Just to all tomatoes. But as you can see now, for example, this one is not a healthy tomato, right?
Yeah.
This one has some yellowing.
Yeah.
So with my agronomist, we can come and figure out what exactly is wrong with this tomato. And then if we find that we need probably to add more iron, then you can come and spray it alone. But normally for foliars, we just spray the whole greenhouse, because as you can see, most of the crops, they look the same. It's just like this one. Yeah.
Guys, we've had so much of tomatoes today, but we've not even had a bite of one tomato. I think it's about time that we have to go and take a bite. Let's go. So guys, I just nicked this tomato outside the greenhouse. She told me not to bite it, but guess what? We have to taste this. We have to know how it tastes. I mean, we can only confirm. So I'm gonna bite it in 3, 2, 1.
No. Don't bite it.
Why?
It's not clean.
It's not clean yet.
Yes.
Okay. I really wanted to bite it, but
No, labda we can go and wash it in the washing area, but for now, I would really recommend you not bite it.
do not bite anything from the greenhouse. What would you tell without washing it? What would you tell anyone who wants to venture into this business?
I think I can say that
What do they need?
Okay, for example, if you want to start a farm and you are young like yourself, then one of the things that you don't need is land. So you don't need to buy land, but you can also lease land, which is very easy and it's very cheap right now in Kenya. Because when you buy land, then you have to invest a lot of money. So at the beginning of the farming, you want to keep your money as low as possible, okay? And the other thing that I would definitely tell someone is to specialize. You have to decide, which crop am I going to do? Am I going to do tomatoes? Am I going to do maize? Am I going to do vegetables? Because every crop can make you rich, absolutely 100%. But you can't do tomatoes this year and then if it doesn't perform well in the market, then you say, no, I'm going to do cabbage tomorrow. So you have to specialize and stay with it for the long haul. Maybe something that you can do is if you have tomatoes as your main crop, then you can also have a small patch of vegetables. Okay. The other thing that I will definitely tell someone is don't quit your job to do farming. Because farming, you need a lot of money, you need a lot of support. For this crop, we've been, they are 6 months old, but we've been harvesting for only 3 months. So for the first 3 months, it was just put in money. So if you come to the farm and you don't have any other source of income, then you're going to be very 100% frustrated. So make sure that you have another source of income or you have a lot of savings. I would recommend definitely have another source of income. So 3 things. 1, don't buy land, lease land to specialize as early as possible. And 3, have another source of income.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate, and I think I have learned a lot. But the biggest thing that I have learned, guys,